This isn't the video I've wanted to make this week, but it's more or less the video I've been forced to make this week unless I was willing to discard an entire 2 or 3 days worth of work. I was recently approached and asked to make a video about a situation that honestly would have made the juiciest guitar news story of the past decade. I'm usually the kind of guy who likes to get straight to the point, so you'll see why I'm being so vague about it in a second. The story was about one fine gentleman, who I'm going to let remain anonymous because I'm not in the mood for any more arguments, who for a long time had regularly been paying a well-known guitar player for lessons. That is, a well-known guitar player who will also remain unnamed. Now at some point, this semi-notable guitar player, who will also remain unnamed, offered his longtime student a very, very limited run guitar for a very, very enticing price. The 50% down payment to start building this guitar would be just under $1,000. Now, once this down payment was made via PayPal, there was little to no communication about the guitar. But after his student began to get a little suspicious, the only messages sent back by this guitar player were essentially taunting him in a haha come get your money sort of way. Now, when I was originally being informed about this situation, the victim of this scam was being about as vague as I am right now. Very skittish and hesitant about what and what not to say, which isn't very helpful when you're supposed to make a YouTube video. So at some point, as you do, I dismissed this situation as, yeah, this dude's a time waster, I don't even know if he's bullshitting me or if he's for real, and I moved on with my life. Until at some point I received a message that looked about like, no, here are the details, here's the proof, please do make a video about this. When I got this information, I dropped everything and got straight to work. And when I tell you I dropped everything, that means I dropped the 5 or 6 projects that I constantly have going on at the same time to sit down, do my research, and script this video to have it done by the day that this video went up. Now, from what I'd gathered from this information, there was a third person involved in this situation, and it was a guitar builder who I'll also not name, who was, according to this semi-notable scammer/guitar teacher, building the guitars in question. But what I had also found in this big giant pile of evidence I was provided with was evidence of this guitar builder saying they'd had a big falling out with this notable guitar player person, and were in fact not building any guitars, and I'm sorry if you actually gave him a down payment because your money's gone. So this being seemingly a reasonable person and someone who didn't seem to be in cahoots with this guitar player or anything, I reached out to him because I had screenshots with his contact information. So my introductory paragraph was, hey, my name is Kalen, I run a YouTube channel named Six String TV. Are you the who used to build guitars for I have a few questions for you regarding the situation with who was ripped off by I'm covering the situation in a YouTube video. The response to which was, okay. So after a few hours of complete radio silence, not receiving any useful nor unuseful information from this man, I thought I'd break the ice with this. Now this guy really liked sending voice messages, so I'm going to run those through a filter just for the sake of anonymity.
Excuse me, Kalen. What is this for? First of all, you need to explain a little bit yourself and what's the goal of this interview. Thank you.
So I told him what the point of this interview is, the point being A, to get the victim of the scam justice, but B, also preventing this from happening to people in the future, because I don't know if he was even the only victim. And the only way to even remotely achieve either of those things is to make the situation public. So in return I got, are you a lawyer? A cop? So we're already off to a poor start here, because that isn't what you say when you're interested in helping out. So when I very professionally tried to explain to him that he was not going to be involved in this video at all, I wasn't going to drag him through the dirt, he wasn't even going to be mentioned by name, there was going to be no images of him in the video, no nothing. And that the only reason I even reached out was to see if he maybe has some input, some part of the story that I hadn't heard about yet. I was greeted with, what the f are you doing? I will sue your ass. Put my guitar brand name on this, your f good luck. So I perhaps slightly less eloquently explained to him that he has to suck it up because this video is getting made one way or another, and he can either side with the people getting scammed or with the scammer. Now even while writing that sentence, I was well aware of whose side he was clearly on and who he'd apparently reconciled with by the looks of it. So I got this.
You're right, there won't be any story. Do you know why? Because I'll sue your ass, and I'll bring your little bricky ego here, Mr. Guitar Six String, right in court. You better know how to speak French either, because you know why? You'll need a translator. And by the time I'm done with you, man, can't wait to see what you're going to be producing on YouTube. We're not in America, you stupid dumbass. There's laws.
Now I'm not sure if in post I even ended up showing that voice message because I would have had to bleep a few things out, but apparently what this guy had in mind is dragging me to court in his country, which is nowhere near this country, to settle a civil lawsuit initiated by him against me for a YouTube video that I would have made exposing a scam that he, according to himself, according to the evidence that I had nothing to do with. Why, you ask? Well, that's a good question. There's a very simple answer, apparently, because there's laws. So while he was sending me a multitude of these unhinged voice messages, he was also sending the same thing, perhaps even more extreme, to the victim of the scam, a man who I had previously mentioned is rather skittish and fearful. Now you can put two and two together, you know what that led to. It led to him pissing his pants and telling me to abort the mission and not make this video. Not that I would have really needed any of his permission to make this video, especially now that I had all of the evidence, but the point of the video was originally to get him justice and to prevent this from happening to other people. So without his consent, this would have really been sort of an operation for personal gain, which isn't what I was after originally, and also wouldn't be a very good look. The point of this video that I had temporarily dropped everything to research and script that I had been determined to get out by the end of that week was to get justice for this one man who ended up being just the time waster I thought he was. Sometimes first impressions really do hold up, but I thought that this was a golden opportunity to A, not have completely wasted my time working on this video, and B, to talk about why I make videos like I do, why I go after scammers, and why it's important to stand up for each other in a community like this, because this could have happened to any one of us. This was, at least at one point, a notable guitar player, someone who seems trustworthy, especially once you've built sort of a teacher-student relationship with them, and the people who this happens to deserve justice. But you know what? After extensive research, scripting, waiting for email responses in the beginning because the guy was so skittish, and then extensive phone, email, and text conversations with him along with the other people involved, all for that to lead to absolutely nothing, I can honestly say it couldn't have happened to a better person. Don't waste people's time when they show goodwill. That's not to say at all that I'm not a sucker for a good news story or that I wouldn't have benefited from this at all. I would have gotten views and subscribers from making that video, sure, but that wouldn't have been the main intention behind me making this video. It would have been to get the news out. The guitar community is quite niche, and I will continue going after scammers in this niche for as long as I can because it's important that people do so. I just thought this video was a good opportunity to A, tell you what not to do if you're ever involved in something like this, and B, talk a little about why I do what I do. By the way, before I forget, as if I could forget, this is the first time you've seen this SM7B in my videos, and while this video isn't sponsored by Shure, this was sent to me for free by Shure to use in my videos, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about it. I'm doing that in this video because this is the first of what's going to be many times that you'll see this thing on my channel, because this is sort of a more dry sit down and talk video, which is the kind of video where I'm most comfortable using this kind of big stationary microphone as opposed to something that's clipped to my chest. I don't need to talk much about the SM7B, you've heard it throughout the course of this entire video. It sounds fantastic, it's the absolute industry standard for spoken word, and that's for good reason. I'm probably not even the 100th, 200th person you've seen or heard using this microphone, because it just sounds incredible, and it's what most people use. And I'm very grateful that Shure has allowed me to be one of the many people that use this microphone. So, I'm going to put some links in the description so you can get yourself one if you want one. This is a very good microphone, but I don't need to tell you that because you watched this video and you heard this video. So that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you for listening. This was an important video to me, not as important as the video it could have been, but important nevertheless. Thanks to all of my lovely Patreon members. I'll put all of their great, wonderful, beautiful names over here. You can become a patron too for as little as $1.90 a month for all of these wonderful benefits. I put all of Shure's links in the description as well. My most recent video is somewhere up here if you want to watch that. You can sub to my channel somewhere down there if you feel like it. I'll put my most recent exposing scammers video somewhere up here too, I think. All my social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are linked in the description. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment. I'll see you around.